there is a conspiracy of silence by those who are contending for the positions of political offices, including the governor of Mombasa. In the last 10 years, and I must say this without any fear of contradiction, ODM, as a party which has enjoyed a lot of support in Mombasa and the coast, has fronted a story that it is protecting the interests of the people of Mombasa and the coast, and was given overwhelming support across the region. Almost every seat in Mombasa County and Kilifi County, and also in Kwale County, has come in or is under the ODM party or its affiliates. But since the handshake, what has happened is that the opposition joined the government. Our interests were compromised. The story of protecting the interests of the people was debunked. ODM no longer stand for our rights. Rights over the port, if it is on land issues, allocation of resources, etc. The drama we experienced when the Senate was discussing the new formula for sharing resources between the national government and the county governments. It was by the grit of the senators that they stopped an unjust formula, an unconstitutional one being planted, which would have made us suffer for the next 5 years. It is instructive to note that ODM as a party and its leadership supported the formula that was fronted, that had no equity, that had no constitutional basis. And this is part of what we find wrong with ODM, and they're still contending for powerful positions within the county. We must resist. Leaders at the national level, with support of those at our county level, has actually thrown us under the bus and left Mombasa to the dogs, and has left the region in severe economic stress. So what is our agenda as regards the issue of the port and the related services? How can we reclaim it back? The current leadership has failed us. Our local leadership has failed us. They cannot speak up against the national forces. They cannot champion the needs of the people of the county and the coast. And this is largely because of greed and corruption and having skeletons in their closets. Anyone who wishes to speak up, you will hear files coming up, popping all over the place. And the kind of leadership that we've had and the kind of reckless, corrupt deals that we have had, it is no wonder that they cannot rise up and open up and do what is normal. Fight for the county, fight for the region, and by extension, fight for the prosperity of the country. We have relegated public good to personal good. What do we need to do? We need to have a leadership at the county level, as well as the national level, to address and to have these three ingredients. We need to have persons of integrity and courage, persons who will not be compromised, persons who are committed to the cause of Mombasa and the coast, and by extension also of the country, persons who would persistently fight to secure the interests of the people of Mombasa, the coast in general, and Kenya in general. We need to have a leadership that has a clear plan to reclaim our rightful share in the port business. We need to agree, for instance, on how to fairly and equitably get a share from the functions of the port between three levels. Let's call it three levels of government. We need to have a fair share and an equitable share of Mombasa and for Mombasa. We need to have a fair share for the surrounding counties of Mombasa. And why? Look at Kwale County. The operations of the port have now extended to the hinterland towards the county of Kwale. We need to expand the port, and the land to do this expansion is naturally found in Kwale County. We're talking about the developments of Dongo Kundu, which holds the future of the port, and amazing facilities which need to be put up, and progress of work is ongoing. The future of the port of Mombasa depends on land, and that land is in Kwale. So special attention must also be placed on Lamu County. It experiences more or less the same issues that we're experiencing in the port of Mombasa. Because we have a port in Lamu, we do have an upcoming port in Kwale County, and that is the Shimoni Port. which will largely be concentrated on fishing activities, they also come in the mix. And then we must also look for the fair share of the country. So we do have to consider these three levels: Mombasa County, adjacent counties and the region of the coast in general, and also the fair share of the country. We need to have a formula where we balance these three interests. It means that Mombasa must work closely with other coast counties, not only to fight for the port services, but also for other natural resources that are located and found in the coast. We do have minerals in the coast. And this is the logic of forming the Jumuiya ya Wapwani, which is an economic bloc like other regions have formed the economic bloc. But we will also see that I will not be amazed that most of us may not know of Jumuiya ya Wapwani as an economic bloc. It's the realization that a county on its own cannot perform very well unless it synchronizes its policies and its developmental agenda with the sister counties so that we can have a bounce from that. What we have is a leadership that is too full of itself. It's not talking to one another. It is talking at each other. We need to have a change of leadership and a way forward to activate the Jumuiya ya Wapwani, to have a strong negotiation position so that we get the benefits of the natural resources that are found in our region. We cannot be the only region that doesn't have a say over its own resources. What are the avenues for this struggle in trying to bring back port businesses? We must first of all be honest and truthful and have fair negotiations between these three levels so that each has a fair share: Mombasa County, coastal counties, and the national government. We must turn away from the idea that we will do things on the trickle-down effect as if the 2010 constitution is not in place. We must fast-track this approach. And what will this approach entail? It will mean the political mobilization of the people of Mombasa and the coast so that we, as well as the national government, understand what is at stake. It looks like everybody is not really conversant with what is at stake, and we take things for granted. We need to make a case for the county. We need to determine a formula for our fair share. But also, we need to take into account the losses that we have incurred as a result of losing business because of SGR and related functions, and because of the way we continued operating since 2010 as if there is no devolved structure in place. So any such losses must also be taken into account so that we start rationalizing what we have lost, so that from fairness, we are kept back into the position which we would have been if we had been cognizant of following the right policies and the right direction. We need, importantly, to have policy and legal reforms. We need to exit this national government-centric approach of the KPA. We need to align it with the demands of the 2010 Constitution, which is about devolution of power.